It was a new day in the kingdom, bright, cheerful, and full of promise. The bluebird sang near the balcony. The castle bells chimed sweetly, and the scent of freshly baked pastries drifted to the long, winding halls. It was, as Baileywick always liked to say, a perfect morning for perfect order. Baileywick, the ever-dedicated royal steward, was already hard at work. His shoes shined like mirrors, his coat pressed without a single wrinkle, and his clipboard clutched firmly in his hand. He moved with graceful precision, checking each corner of the castle as though time itself followed his schedule. "Good morning, your majesties," Baileywick said, bowing as he entered the grand breakfast room. King Roland was sipping his tea while Queen Miranda read from a parchment of royal duties. "Good morning, Baileywick," King Roland said cheerfully. "You're up early again." "Of course, your majesty. The early bird ensures the castle runs on time," Baileywick replied proudly, adjusting his cufflinks. Princess Sophia skipped in, her amulet glimmering in the morning sun. "Good morning, Baileywick," she sang. "Everything looks wonderful." Baileywick smiled kindly. "Thank you, Princess. I do try to make every day sparkle." Prince James stumbled in behind her, half awake, and yawned. "Baileywick, do you ever sleep?" "Sleep, Prince James," Baileywick replied with a small grin, "is merely a brief intermission between duties." Amber entered next, perfectly dressed as always, her golden curls bouncing. "Baileywick, my room could use more lavender flowers. The current ones clash with my new drapes." Baileywick nodded dutifully. "Of course, Princess Amber. I'll have that done before lunch." Queen Miranda glanced up, smiling softly. "Baileywick, you've been running the castle nonstop. When was your last day off?" Baileywick paused mid-step. Day off, your majesty? Why, I had one last year. Or was it the year before that?" King Roland set down his tea. "You've more than earned one, old friend. Tomorrow, the castle will manage without you." Baileywick's eyes widened slightly. "Without me?" He chuckled nervously. "Surely, your majesty jests." But Sophia clapped her hands excitedly. "Oh, that's a wonderful idea. We'll handle everything for a day. You can relax, Baileywick." The steward looked uncertain. "Relax? I'm not sure I remember how." Queen Miranda smiled. "We insist. Tomorrow, no duties, no lists, just you and a nice peaceful day." Baileywick took a deep breath, his mind spinning. The thought of leaving the castle unsupervised felt like leaving a crown unattended on a windy day. If you insist, your majesties, I shall prepare a few brief notes to ensure everything continues smoothly." "Just a few notes," King Roland said with a chuckle. "Nothing too complicated." Musical note, playful music swells as Baileywick begins writing his few notes. A few notes turned into a very long list, one that unrolled across the table, down the stairs, and into the hallway. Sophia blinked. "Baileywick, this is your idea of short?" "It's quite concise, Princess," he replied proudly. "Only 3 columns this time." Sophia laughed softly. "Don't worry. We'll take care of everything." The next morning dawned even brighter. Baileywick stood at the castle gates, dressed not in his uniform but in simple clothes, a soft vest, rolled-up sleeves, and a wide-brimmed hat. He carried a picnic basket, a book, and a curious expression of both excitement and unease. "Enjoy your day off, Baileywick," Sophia called from the balcony. He waved politely. "Thank you, Princess. I shall do my best." As he strolled down the castle path, the birds chirped, the breeze hummed, and the scent of the meadows filled the air. He took a deep breath. A day off. Just me, nature, and tranquility. Sparkles the scene fades to the peaceful hills outside Enchancia. Baileywick spread out his blanket beneath a shady oak tree. "Now," he said, opening his book, "perhaps I'll finally finish chapter 1. But far away, in the castle behind him, Sophia unrolled the list once more. It tumbled down the stairs and coiled around a table leg. "All right, team," she said confidently. "Baileywick trusts us to keep things perfect. Let's not let him down." James grinned. "How hard can it be?" Amber sighed, holding a feathered duster. "Famous last words, James." Musical notes soft, mischievous music plays as the royal siblings take on the steward's duties, and a day of delightful chaos begins. The moment Baileywick disappeared down the hill, Sophia turned to the others with determination sparkling in her eyes. "All right, everyone," Baileywick said, "the castle runs best when we work together. So that's exactly what we'll do." Amber crossed her arms, glancing at the scroll that stretched across the marble floor. "That list looks longer than the Great Wall of Enchancia." James grinned. "Come on, Amber, it's just chores." "We do chores all the time." Sophia smiled patiently. "Not castle chores, James. This isn't sweeping our playroom. Baileywick's jobs keep everything and everyone running smoothly." She rolled the scroll open to the first section. Step 1. Collect the breakfast trays and polish all the silver before mid-morning tea. James puffed out his chest. Piece of cake. Musical notes, upbeat kitchen music plays as the trio burst through the swinging doors. The royal kitchen was a whirlwind of movement. Pots clanging, ovens glowing, servants bustling. The chef looked up from his saucepans and nearly dropped his spoon. "Your Highnesses," Baileywick said, "you'd be helping, but I didn't expect all 3 of you at once." Sophia smiled brightly. "We're taking care of things while he's on his day off." The chef's eyebrows arched. "He actually took one? Saints preserve us." Amber wrinkled her nose at the stacks of dishes. "This is sticky." James dipped a towel in soapy water and started scrubbing a tray. "See? Easy," he said proudly, just as the tray slipped, spun in the air, and clattered on the floor with a loud clang. Everyone jumped. A puff of flour burst into the air, covering Amber from head to toe. "My hair," she squealed. Sophia giggled, but quickly took control. "Okay, let's divide and conquer. James, keep washing. Amber, polish. I'll dry and stack." For the next hour, the kitchen echoed with laughter, a few splashes, and more than one dropped fork. When the chef inspected the final trays, he gave a reluctant nod. "Not bad, Princess. They'll shine fine for the tea service." Sophia wiped her brow. "1 task done, 100 to go." Amber pointed to the next line. 10 to the west courtyard flowers before noon. The trio carried watering cans to the sunny garden, where colorful blooms swayed in the gentle breeze. "Oh, this one's easy," Amber declared confidently. "Flowers just need a gentle touch." Musical notes, light harp music plays as birds flutter overhead. Amber tilted her watering can, and the water gushed out faster than expected, soaking her dress. She gasped as the fountain behind her sputtered, coughed, and suddenly sprayed water like a geyser. "Turn it off! Turn it off!" James shouted, running in circles as butterflies scattered. Sophia hurried to the spout, twisting the handle until the water stopped. She looked at Amber, who was dripping from head to toe but surrounded by perfectly watered, glistening flowers. Amber sighed dramatically. At least the roses looked radiant. They laughed together, but a faint shimmer from Sophia's amulet drew her attention. The gem glowed softly, pulsing with light. "Strange," Sophia whispered. "It only does that when magic's involved." Clover hopped up beside her. Maybe Baileywick's day off is going to be a magical one after all. Sparkle's scene shifts to Baileywick sitting peacefully on a hillside, unaware of the sparkle in the distance. He sat under his favorite oak tree, nibbling a sandwich and reading from a thick old storybook titled Legends of the Royal Servants. "Ah," he sighed contentedly. Peace, quiet, and no one asking for more napkins. A gentle breeze rustled through the grass. Baileywick smiled, then frowned. Did that tree just shimmer? A faint twinkle of magic glittered in the air, vanishing as quickly as it came. Baileywick blinked. Must be the sunlight. He went back to reading. Musical notes back at the castle. The pace quickens again. "Next task," Sophia read. "Ensure the guest rooms are tidy and the banquet hall ready for lunch." "Banquet?" James groaned. "You didn't say anything about a banquet." "It's for visiting nobles," Sophia explained. "We can't cancel it." Soon, the castle echoed the sounds of dusters swishing, chairs scraping, and the siblings coordinating like a mini-royal crew. Sophia kept them motivated, reminding everyone that Baileywick's greatest strength wasn't just his organization. It was how he made people feel appreciated. Baileywick doesn't just give orders, Sofia said softly. He inspires teamwork. By noon, the castle gleamed. The hall sparkled, the staff smiled, and Sofia felt a warm pride glowing inside her heart. Just then, the magic from her amulet pulsed again, this time brighter, almost humming. Clover's ears perked. Oh, that's not your everyday shimmer, princess. Before Sofia could answer, a faint echo of Baileywick's voice whispered through the hall. Only, it wasn't coming from any charm. Remember, Princess Sofia, calm coordination, the voice said gently. Sofia blinked. Did anyone else hear that? Amber frowned. Hear what? James shrugged. Probably just the wind. Sofia looked thoughtful, but smiled anyway. Then the wind sounded a lot like Baileywick. Sparkles the music swells warmly as the castle glows in the afternoon sun. Sofia stood at the top of the grand staircase, her amulet glowing faintly against her chest. The light shimmered like a heartbeat, slow, steady, and full of magic. Clover tilted his head. That thing's humming louder than a beehive. Princess, you sure it's not about to do something weird? Sofia smiled nervously. It usually glows when I'm meant to learn something important, but I can't tell what it's trying to show me yet. Amber sighed, fluffing her hair. I hope whatever it's showing you isn't more cleaning. I've polished every mirror in this castle twice. James leaned on the railing. Hey, at least nothing's broken today. Crash! As if on cue, a loud noise echoed to the hall. The trio turned around to see a stack of trays rolling out of the kitchen, chased by a flustered butler. Oh no! Sofia gasped. Not again. Musical note playful chaos music begins as Sofia, Amber, and James rush after the runaway trays. They darted around corners, slid across polished floors, and finally caught the last tray before it could tumble down the stairs. Sofia sighed in relief, brushing flour off her face. Phew! Crisis averted, she said. Barely. Amber grumbled, glaring at a blob of jam on her dress. How does Baileywick keep this castle from turning into a disaster every 5 minutes? Sofia laughed softly. I think he does it with patience and a lot of walking. But just as the siblings regrouped, the amulet's light grew brighter, this time shining like a beacon. A warm, magical wind swirled around them. Clover's first stood on end. Okay, that's definitely magic. A soft, kind voice echoed through the air. Princess Sofia? Sofia blinked in surprise. That voice! It sounds familiar. The light from her amulet swirled, forming the faint image of a glowing figure. Princess Cinderella herself, the royal mentor who had once helped Sofia before. Sparkle's gentle chime music plays as the magical vision shimmers into view. Cinderella, Sofia exclaimed. It's so good to see you again. Cinderella smiled warmly. And you, dear Sofia. I sense you're learning something important today about responsibility and rest. Sofia nodded. Baileywick finally took a day off. We're trying to handle everything for him, but it's harder than we thought. The magical figure chuckled softly. Ah, Baileywick. Every kingdom has someone like him, the one who holds everything together quietly, so others can shine. But even the most dedicated hearts need rest. Sofia's eyes sparkled. We're doing our best, but the castle keeps finding ways to get messy again. Cinderella's glow brightened. Then perhaps the magic of teamwork is what's needed. Not everything has to be perfect, only done with care. Amber tilted her head. So, even if it's not flawless, it can still be good? Exactly, Cinderella said gently. Kindness and effort make a task noble, not perfection. With that, the glow around her began to fade. Remember, Sofia, sometimes the best way to help others is to let them rest while you learn. Sofia curtsied as the magic faded. Thank you, Your Highness. When the light disappeared, the castle returned to normal, though the amulet still glimmered faintly, like a whisper of encouragement. James grinned. Well, that was awesome. A magical pep talk from Cinderella herself. Amber sighed dreamily, and her dress was divine. Sofia laughed. Come on, we've still got more to do. Let's make Baileywick proud. Musical notes the music brightens as the siblings continue their work with renewed energy. They divided the remaining chores. Sophia organized the laundry for servants, Amber arranged the banquet flowers, and James polished the dining chairs, though he spent more time sliding on them than cleaning. Slowly but surely, the castle began to sparkle again. Sophia guided everyone gently, her voice calm and confident. She even started using some of Baileywick's favorite phrases. "Let's keep our steps brisk and our hearts steady," she called cheerfully. By late afternoon, things looked almost perfect again. The royal staff smiled as they passed, whispering about how well the young princess had handled things. But in the corner of the great hall, one last problem was brewing. Quite literally. The tea kettle for the royal luncheon began to shake and whistle far too loudly. "James!" Sophia cried. "The kettle!" He rushed forward, but the kettle let out a loud pop and shot a puff of steam so strong it knocked a stack of napkins into the air. They fluttered like snowflakes all over the hall. Amber gasped. "Oh no, the tea!" Clover peeked from behind a chair. "Guess that's what happens when you let royalty handle kitchenware." Sophia sighed, half laughing, half exasperated. "At least the napkins are clean." Despite the chaos, the laughter that followed was light and genuine. Even when things went wrong, they were doing it together, and that, Sophia thought, was its own kind of magic. Sparkle's soft orchestral music swells as the scene pans to the sunny meadow where Baileywick finishes his tea with a smile, unaware of the delightful mayhem at home. He leaned back, gazing at the clouds. Nothing but peace and quiet. Perfect. A butterfly landed on his hat. Baileywick chuckled softly, closing his eyes. Maybe I should do this more often. Musical note scene fades out on a gentle breeze, leading into the next chapter. The royal castle of Enchancia gleamed beautifully under the mid-afternoon light. The chandeliers sparkled, the tables shone, and for a brief, blissful moment, everything seemed calm again. Sophia stood proudly in the main hall, her checklist almost complete. "We did it," she said happily. "The castle's in order, the banquet's ready, and the kitchen smells amazing." Amber brushed flour off her sleeves. "Finally, I feel like I've done a week's worth of work in one day." James grinned. "I'm starting to think Baileywick's job might actually be hard." Clover smirked. "Now you're catching on, kid." Sophia giggled. "We just have to make it through tea time and we'll be all done." Musical notes of graceful violin tune plays as Sophia opens the ballroom doors. Inside, the staff were setting up a long, elegant table for the visiting nobles from a neighboring kingdom of Wailing. Beautiful porcelain cups lined the table, and a tower of delicate cakes stood proudly in the center. Everything looked perfect, or so it seemed. Sophia took a deep breath. "All right, tea is at 3 o'clock sharp. We just need to pour the tea, greet the guests, and keep everything calm." Amber nodded seriously. "Calm. I can do calm." James winked. "I can do calm, too, as long as calm involves cookies." Clover hopped onto the tablecloth and sniffed the air. "Smells like vanilla and trouble." Sophia gave him a look. "Let's hope not." Sparkles the scene fades to the castle gates, where the guests arrive. A royal carriage rolled up, its golden wheels glinting. Out stepped Princess June and her brother Prince Jean, Sophia's friends from Wailing. "Sophia," June exclaimed, hurrying up the steps with a radiant smile. "It's been ages." Sophia ran to greet her. "June, I'm so glad you could come. Baileywick's taking the day off, so we're in charge." June giggled. "That sounds brave." Inside the tea room, everything was arranged with care, but then the tiniest problem began to brew. The enchanted kettle from the royal kitchen, the same one that had puffed steam earlier, was sitting quietly at the table's edge. It shimmered faintly, almost as if it were waiting for something. Amber, eager to impress the guests, lifted the kettle. "Allow me, Princess June." The kettle trembled slightly. Amber blinked. "That's odd." James whispered, "Maybe it's nervous." "Don't be silly," Amber said, pouring. But instead of a graceful stream, a sudden burst of steam erupted from the spout. "Ah!" Amber shrieked as the kettle wobbled in her hands. The hot steam whooshed upward, rattling the cups and sending the sugar cubes flying like tiny comets. June gasped, Jean ducked, and Clover shouted, "Incoming scones!" Musical note comedic chase music plays as pastries bounce across the table. Sophia quickly waved her wand to steady the kettle, her amulet glowing bright pink. "Calm down, little kettle," she cried. The magic responded. A swirl of light enveloped the kettle, and it floated gently back to the table. The steam settled. The room grew quiet again, except for the faint giggle that escaped from Princess June. "That," June said, brushing crumbs from her shoulder, "was the most exciting tea service I've ever seen." Amber sighed, cheeks pink. "I swear this castle is haunted by chaos." James picked up a cupcake and took a bite. At least the snack survived. Sophia looked at the kettle, which now shimmered innocently. Something's not right. That wasn't just steam, it felt like magic. Clover hopped up beside her. "Magic? You think Baileywick's teapot's got a mind of its own?" Sophia frowned thoughtfully. "I think something enchanted in the kitchen might have gone wrong when we started taking over." Amber groaned. "Wonderful. Baileywick's day off just turned into a magical mystery." Musical note scene transitions to the castle gardens as Sophia and her friends investigate. They followed faint glittering trails from the tea room to the kitchens. The air shimmered faintly, the same glow Sophia's amulet had shown earlier. "I knew it," Sophia whispered. "It's spreading from the kitchen." When they entered, everything looked still, too still. Pots and pans hung neatly, but a faint humming came from the shelves. Then suddenly, a rolling pin floated up and started stirring batter on its own. "Did that just—" James started. "Yes," Sophia said calmly, stepping closer. "It's magic, gentle, not harmful. But I think the castle's been enchanted to help us." Amber blinked. "You mean the castle's working for us?" "Maybe," Sophia said, smiling softly. "Or maybe Baileywick's spirit of hard work is so strong, it rubbed off on everything here." Clover snorted. "So basically, even when he's gone, Baileywick's still running the place." They all laughed, the tension easing. Sophia's amulet glowed once more, this time with a soft golden hue. "See," Sophia said, smiling. "As long as we stay calm and work together, everything turns out okay." Musical notes to music swells warmly as the group walks out of the kitchen, the castle glowing faintly behind them. Meanwhile, far away on his hillside, Baileywick stretched and packed his picnic basket. "Ah," he said contentedly, "I do believe the castle can manage without me for one day." Just then, a faint magical sparkle drifted past him, landing gently on his book. Baileywick blinked, puzzled, but then smiled knowingly. Perhaps they found their rhythm after all. Sparkle's soft harp music fades as the scene closes with the castle glowing peacefully under the sunset, setting the stage for the evening's next adventure. The day had stretched longer than any of them expected. Between enchanted kettles, floating pastries, and Baileywick's endless list of tasks, Sophia and her friends were ready for a well-deserved rest. But the castle wasn't finished surprising them just yet. Amber was the first to notice the strange shimmer on the west balcony. "Sophia," she said, squinting, "do you see that glow out there?" Sophia leaned closer to the window. Sure enough, a trail of glittering sparkles swirled through the sunset air, drifting like golden butterflies. "It's the same light from the kitchen," she whispered. Clover hopped up on the sill. "Well, that can't be normal castle behavior. Should we check it out before it turns into dancing furniture or something?" James laughed. "Let's go before Clover starts narrating ghost stories." Musical notes adventurous flute music begins as the group steps onto the balcony. The view was breathtaking. The gardens below glowed in the fading sunlight, and the lake shimmered like a mirror. But right at the edge of the balcony stood a small enchanted broom, sweeping gracefully on its own. It wasn't just cleaning. It was drawing shapes in the dust, forming swirls that shimmered faintly in the air. Amber gasped. "It's spelling something." Indeed, the sparkles formed neat, glowing letters that read, "The heart of the castle remembers kindness." Sophia's eyes widened. "It's a message, but from who?" Clover tapped his chin. "Maybe the castle itself?" Or maybe someone left a magical charm that's finally waking up. The broom finished its message and gave a polite bow before hopping away, disappearing into a puff of glitter. Amber blinked. Okay, I did not imagine that. James looked at Sophia, half grinning. So, what do we do when the castle starts writing letters? Sophia smiled softly, holding her amulet. We listen. Musical note of soft, mysterious tune plays as she closes her eyes. The amulet glowed a faint pink, and Sophia felt a familiar warmth, the same comforting presence she always sensed when it wanted to help. Then a gentle voice, like the whisper wind of the halls, echoed in her heart. When the keeper of the castle rests, the castle keeps its promise. Sophia's eyes opened, filled with wonder. It's Baileywick, she gasped. The castle's magic is connected to his care. Every act of kindness and hard work he's done all these years, it's left a mark. The castle is returning the favor. Amber looked touched. You mean it's taking care of itself while he's away? Exactly, Sophia said. It's making sure everything still runs smoothly, even if it has a few magical hiccups. Clover chuckled. Well, that explains the tea that tried to fly. Sophia giggled. Maybe the castle just wanted to help us make tea faster. Musical notes, the music shifts to a cheerful, whimsical tune. As they laughed together, a group of birds fluttered past, carrying ribbons of silver and blue in their beaks. They swooped around the balcony, decorating the railings with sparkling strands that shimmered under the fading sun. Amber gasped. It's decorating? For what? James shrugged. Maybe it's saying thank you? Just then, Baileywick's apprentice, Nigel, came running up the stairs, panting slightly. Princess Sophia, Princess Amber, you have to come to the Great Hall. Something amazing is happening. They hurried downstairs, skirts rustling and shoes clicking across marble floors. The Great Hall doors swung open, and their eyes widened in delight. The entire hall glowed. Garlands of enchanted flowers bloomed along the walls. Candles floated gently in the air, and the grand chandeliers sparkled with rainbow light. Amber gasped. It's like the castle threw its own party. Nigel nodded, eyes wide with awe. It just started doing this on its own. I didn't touch a thing. Clover grinned. Well, if Baileywick were here, he'd probably faint, or start alphabetizing the decorations. Sophia stepped forward, smiling softly. No, he'd be proud. The castle is celebrating his kindness. It's showing what it learned from him. The amulet glowed once more, and faint magical motes shaped themselves into an image above the chandelier. Baileywick's silhouette, smiling and holding his ever-present clipboard. Amber's voice softened. Sophia, that's beautiful. Sophia nodded. He's not even here, and his spirit of care still fills his place. Musical note, emotional orchestral music swells, as the children and animals stand in awe. Sophia turned to her friends. We should make this celebration real. Let's finish setting up for Baileywick. They sprang into action. Amber arranged flowers on the tables. James lit the candles, and Sophia enchanted soft floating lights to glow like fireflies. The entire great hall came alive, warm, welcoming, and magical. Clover yawned. Now this is my kind of magic, sparkly and snack-friendly. Nigel smiled shyly. You're really good at this, Princess Sophia. Sophia smiled back. I learned from the best. Sparkles cut to Baileywick. Far away on his quiet hillside, he was finishing his picnic, smiling fondly at the castle glowing faintly in the distance. I knew they'd manage, he murmured. Then he looked up and blinked. Above the castle, a faint shimmer formed into glowing words in the evening sky. Thank you, Baileywick. Baileywick chuckled softly. Oh my, I suppose even castles can have feelings. He leaned back, watching the stars begin to appear, a peaceful smile on his face. Musical notes, the music slows to a gentle lullaby as the scene fades, the castle basking in golden twilight, filled with laughter and light. Musical notes soft, twinkling night music plays as stars appear one by one in the velvet sky over Enchancia. The castle glowed warmly against the deep blue of evening, lights flickering from every window. The grand hall shimmered with gentle candlelight, laughter echoing softly down the corridors. Inside, Sophia, Amber, James, and their friends stood admiring the scene. The garlands it arranged now sparkled with a faint enchantment, casting tiny stars across the marble floor. The castle felt alive, peaceful and proud. Sophia sighed happily. I think the castle's ready for Baileywick to come home. Amber nodded, smoothing a ribbon. It looks perfect. I just hope he doesn't faint when he sees all this. James chuckled. He'll probably start cleaning the clean parts. Clover hopped up onto a chair. Hey, speaking of Baileywick, when is he coming back? Sophia looked at the clock. Any minute now. He said he'd be home before moonrise. Musical notes of camera pans to the forest path leading toward the castle. Baileywick walked at a steady pace, his satchel slung over his shoulder and a calm smile on his face. Fireflies blinked gently around him as he hummed a soft tune. His day off had been exactly what he'd hoped. Peaceful, quiet, and filled with good tea and rest. But even in his relaxation, he couldn't help but think about the castle. He chuckled softly. I wonder how they're getting on without me. Hopefully, no catastrophes today. Just then, a faint golden light flickered above the treetops, the same gentle glow that had danced across the castle earlier. Baileywick paused. Now that's curious, he murmured. Either the kitchen's on fire, or something marvelous is happening. Musical note cue a gentle, whimsical tune as he quickens his pace toward home. Back in the castle, Sophia gathered everyone around the grand staircase. All right, everyone, she said, clapping her hands. Let's surprise Baileywick when he comes through the doors. He's worked so hard for all of us. Tonight, we'll show him how much he's appreciated. Amber smiled. Finally, a royal surprise for someone else instead of from someone else. James winked. Let's just make sure the castle doesn't try to help too much. As if on cue, a nearby chandelier flickered mischievously, as though it had heard him. Sophia giggled. Okay, castle, gentle magic only, please. Sparkles the main doors creaked open with a soft hum of magic. Baileywick stepped inside, his boots echoing faintly on the marble. He froze mid-step, eyes widening in surprise. The great hall was radiant. Ribbons of gold and lavender hung from the ceiling. Enchanted candles floated in the air, and every flower seemed to bloom in rhythm with the soft background music. The scent of honey cakes and rose tea filled the air. Then, as if on cue, everyone shouted, Welcome back, Baileywick. Baileywick blinked, his jaw dropping slightly. Good heavens, he whispered. What on earth? Sophia hurried forward, her dress twirling. Surprise. We wanted to thank you for everything you do. So, while you were away, we looked after the castle. Amber chimed in proudly. And by looked after, we mean survived a few magical mishaps. James added with a grin. You be proud. I only set off one small flower explosion. Baileywick raised an eyebrow. A flower explosion? Clover jumped onto the banister. Long story, Chief. But it all worked out in the end. Musical notes soft strings rise as Baileywick steps into the center of the hall, his expression turning warm and touched. My, he said quietly looking around. You've all done beautifully. The castle looks marvelous. Sophia beamed. Thank you, but there's something you should know. The castle helped us, really helped us. Baileywick blinked. The castle helped? Amber nodded. Magic. The teapot, the broom, even the chandelier. It was like the whole place came alive to lend a hand. Baileywick smiled knowingly. Then perhaps the castle has learned a thing or two from all of us. He turned toward Sophia, eyes twinkling kindly. Princess Sophia, you've always believed in the heart of this castle, and now it seems the castle believes in you too. Sophia's amulet shimmered, as if agreeing. Then, suddenly, the air filled with soft golden sparkles. The magic of the castle itself. It swirled gently above them, forming the words once again. The heart of the castle remembers kindness. Baileywick watched in wonder, his usually composed expression softening with emotion. That's beautiful, he whispered. Sophia smiled. We think it's the castle's way of saying thank you. Amber added, and ours, too. James nodded. Yeah, you deserve a day off and a standing ovation. The group clapped cheerfully, their laughter echoing through the grand hall. Baileywick chuckled and bowed slightly. Well, I must admit, it's rather nice to feel appreciated. Though, he looked around playfully. I do see a few ribbons that could be straighter. Everyone groaned and laughed together. Musical notes the music brightens as Sophia takes his hand. Baileywick, she said softly, today reminded us just how much you do. The castle's big, but it feels like home because of your care. He looked at her fondly. Thank you, Princess. But it's all of you, your kindness, your teamwork, that truly keeps this place alive. The floating candles shimmered a little brighter, as if agreeing. Baileywick smiled warmly. Now then, I believe I owe you all a cup of tea, without any flying teapots this time. Clover chuckled. I'll drink to that. Musical note cues soft, glowing instrumental music as everyone gathers around a large round table. The scene fades to the soft glow of candlelight, laughter filling the hall. The castle hums gently, alive, happy, and filled with love. Above the tower, the moon rises high, bathing Enchancia in silver light. Sparkles narrator's gentle voice. And so, on the night Baileywick returned, Enchancia remembered something wonderful. That kindness, once shared, never truly rests. It lingers in every corner, every smile, and every spark of magic that makes a castle a home. Musical notes the music fades with the sound of a clock chiming midnight. The moon hung high above Enchancia, glowing like a silver crown in the night sky. Inside the royal castle, laughter still echoed from the great hall where everyone had gathered to celebrate Baileywick's return. The party had slowed to a peaceful calm. Teacups now empty, crumbs of honey cake scattered across the table, and sleepy smiles on every face. Sophia sat beside Baileywick, her amulet glowing faintly under the candlelight. The castle felt warm, not just from the fires or lights, but from something deeper, something alive. Baileywick, Sophia said softly, I don't think we could have done this without you. Even when you weren't here, everything you taught us helped us keep things running. Baileywick smiled modestly, folding his hands. You all did splendidly, Princess Sophia. I've always said that every task, no matter how small, is important when done with care. It seems you've all taken that lesson to heart. Amber grinned, sipping her tea. I even learned how to fold napkins into swans. That's got to count for something. James chuckled, and I didn't blow up the kitchen twice. Clover snorted. Barely. Musical notes light laughter fills the room as the camera pans upward to the softly glowing chandelier. The floating candle began to dim gently, and the air filled once again with the soft shimmer of golden dust, the same magical glow that had followed them all day. Everyone looked up as it spiraled gracefully toward the ceiling, forming a warm halo of light above them. Sophia placed her hand over her amulet. It's the castle's magic again, she whispered. The golden light shimmered and began to take shape, forming a faint image of the castle itself, glowing with a heart at its center. A gentle voice filled the air, tender and melodic, as if the very walls were speaking. A home is more than stone and song. It lives where hearts are kind and strong. When care is given, love will stay. In every task, in every day. Amber's eyes sparkled. Did the castle just recite poetry? Baileywick chuckled softly. Indeed it did, and quite beautifully, too. Sophia smiled, her eyes shining. It's telling us that kindness keeps this castle alive, and that every act of care matters. Musical note harp strings play a gentle melody. Baileywick rose from his chair and walked slowly toward the large stained-glass windows overlooking the moonlit courtyard. When I first came to Enchancia, he said thoughtfully, I believed my job was to keep everything perfect, every plate polished, every carpet straight. But over the years, I've learned it's not perfection that keeps this castle standing. It's people. It's the laughter, the effort, the moments we share. He turned, smiling at them all. You proved that today. Amber blushed. Well, I do have impeccable taste in flowers. James teased, and I have impeccable timing with flower explosions. Everyone laughed again, the room glowing brighter with every smile. Sophia stood and walked over to Baileywick, her voice soft but filled with pride. You're the heart of this castle, Baileywick. And now, Thanks to you, we all know how to take care of it and each other. Baileywick looked truly moved. His eyes glistened faintly, though he quickly adjusted his collar to hide it. Thank you, Princess Sophia. You've all grown so much. Enchancia is in very good hands. Sparkle's soft flute and violin music swells as Sophia glances out the window. Outside, the garden shimmered under moonlight. The enchanted flowers that had bloomed earlier now glowed faintly, their petals opening wider as if smiling too. The castle itself hummed gently, alive, peaceful, content. Clover yawned. Well, I'd say the castle's had its fill of excitement. Time for some well-earned rest. Sophia giggled. You're right, Clover. Amber stretched, stifling a yawn. Tomorrow, everything goes back to normal, though maybe I'll help with breakfast. James smirked. As long as you don't use the magic kettle. Baileywick chuckled warmly. I'll see to that personally. Musical notes the scene transitions softly to the next morning. The sun rose over Enchancia, bathing the castle in golden light. Birds chirped outside, and the smell of warm pastries filled the air. Baileywick was already up, clipboard in hand, but there was a lighter air to his steps. Sophia entered the kitchen, smiling. You're up early again, Baileywick. He turned with a grin. Habit, Princess Sophia. But I must admit, after yesterday, I'm taking things just a bit slower today. Sophia giggled. You deserve it. She placed a small silver teapot on the counter, the same one that had caused all the commotion the day before. I think someone else wanted to say thank you, too. Baileywick looked at it fondly. Ah, the mischievous teapot. Well then, he poured himself a cup and smiled. To teamwork, magical and otherwise. Sophia clinked her cup gently against his. To kindness, musical notes soft, nostalgic music swells as the camera pans out. From the kitchen, through the glowing hallways, up to the castle towers where sunlight gleams. Sparkles narrator's gentle voice. And so, Baileywick's day off became more than a rest. It became a reminder that kindness and care once shared ripple through every heart, every hall, and every moment that makes Enchancia shine. For even when the castle sleeps, love keeps its magic awake. Musical notes' final orchestral flourish. The castle stands proudly under the morning sun, peaceful, shining, and alive with gentle enchantment. Cherry blossom fade out to the title card. The end. Sofia the First, Baileywick's day off.